Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar and Canopy's first ever live online demo night, starting with a panel discussion with this illustrious group in front of me today. We're just waiting for Antonio to join. Oh, there we go, Antonio. Welcome. Hopefully you have... Okay, so Antonio, I'll let you in a second. All right, so welcome to the Canopy demo night. If you're joining us from India, the Netherlands, Portugal, US, or anywhere else, you're very welcome to be here. Thank you. So to start off with, we're going to have a discussion with these guys around the adoption of blockchain technology into the world. So very pleased to see you. Miguel, could you take a couple of seconds to introduce yourself, and then Quincy, and then Santosh?
Yeah, sure. First and foremost, thank you so much for the invite. I hope that every...
Miguel, you're on mute, I think.
Is it better? Is it good now? Hello?
Perfect, yeah.
Okay, I don't know, this muted automatically. Oh, okay, cool. So did you hear something or from scratch?
From scratch, I suppose, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's much better. So I've prepared myself. This was just a preparation run. So I was saying that thank you so much for the invite, Stuart. About me a little bit. I grew up in Macau, in Asia. I was there until I was 18 years old. I've been developing web stuff since I was 12 years old, and I knew I wanted to work in this space. I ended up coming to the south of Portugal, and I decided to stay here. Created the Dengen, so software house. We are around 80 people today working, and the majority of our clients are in Austin, San Francisco, and in New York. Basically, I'm very, very lucky because I work in the best place on the planet with the coolest projects, a couple of blockchain projects and other interesting ones.
Nice one.
Miguel.
First of all, thank you for having me as well. My name is Quincy Spear. I'm based in Amsterdam. I have a token agency. It's called Blockchain Natives. It's in Estonia. I'm an e-resident of Estonia. We work on several blockchain projects as well, mainly in tokenization of assets, but we set up token projects as well. So we have a distributed team working all over. And yeah, that's basically what we do. I know Stu from Canopy in Lisbon when I was there at the Web Summit, as well as Miguel. So thanks for having me, and I'm happy that I can contribute.
Yeah, thanks, Quincy. Hi, everyone. This is Santosh. I run a blockchain community called Singular Chain. It's a community of developers, blockchain enthusiasts, people who are looking to influence early real-world adoption of blockchain. I've been running this since the past 2 years. We have an interesting community of people who were in this a lot. One second. So I think, is it audible, guys? Because someone commented that it's not. Let me know, Quincy.
I can hear you in a good way. For me, it's good.
So currently focusing on blockchain adoption for enterprises and how I can scale this innovation to market. Definitely excited to be part of this. Yeah, I think Stuart is missing, so maybe I'd like to lead this conversation to start with for everyone to make this more interesting, you know, because I mean, we keep hearing about blockchain and cryptocurrencies and everything, right? There's a lot of hype around this. Of course, everybody have heard about Bitcoin for sure. I mean, that's the first thing I get to hear, right, when we talk about blockchain or cryptocurrencies. Even with respect to cryptocurrencies, I think most people would have heard about Bitcoin. But I'm quite convinced that blockchain is here to stay. It's the underlying technology is quite exciting, and that's what drove me to actually co-found this community around the world. And then again, it's all about collaboration, which is a mindset which I'm taking from real world, especially when we see a lot about cryptocurrencies and everything happening around this. I can't stress this enough that there's an importance of a lot of great communities to come in and contribute to make this more legit side of business rather than a lot of scams we've seen around. But yeah, from an enterprise standpoint or from a real world adoption standpoint, I'm quite convinced blockchain for. To start with, one of the biggest reason I'm convinced is about fractional ownership. And that's my winning benefit from a blockchain. But if you look at other blockchain features like immutability, putting it on audit trail, enabling decentralization to so that you're basically de-risking yourself, there are multiple features which actually win for the blockchain. If I would like to lead the conversation from that sense, it would make it more interesting. Because there are multiple features and we have multiple guys who can take these stands. For this, I would like to take fractional ownership as my why for blockchain and why I believe in blockchain, because that is what I believe can bridge the gap between the rich and poor. And fractional ownership is what allows people to, I think, come on to asset classes beyond currencies, which otherwise are not available for the poor or even lower middle class for that matter. So, and then I'd like to probably go to Quincy first and say, why do you think, what brought you to blockchain and why you're convinced that blockchain is a winner and why the hype?
Yeah, well, basically for me, it's also fractional ownership. But I also believe that blockchain is going to be foundational, like internet was. Especially in the transfer of value, I've never seen something like this before, and especially the easiness. What we encounter is the trust, and that's basically also something that we see. And when we talk about or when we present the solutions that we developed, it's really difficult to get a lot of people on board. So it's basically all the early adapters, but it's really difficult for us to get skill. Yeah, so that's basically what we encounter, and that's something what we.
I think we're missing Quincy here. Quincy, we lost you for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, you're back.
Okay. I don't know what the last thing was that you heard.
Yeah, but go ahead. You've discussed about trust and how blockchain is going to fundamentally disrupt the way we were using internet to the transformation. Yeah, that's where
exactly. So that's basically my opinion in that one. So fresh, and also the thing where what we encounter most now is like to get adoption. It's basically has to do with trust and also the users. It's so early stage, and that's something that that's kind of an issue for us now. It's like our biggest challenge. Yeah. What about you, Miguel?
I'll be honest, as I try to be most of the times. So having a software house and what I've been trying to look for is to build my own tech startup, something that can scale international through a digital platform, and that's what I've been looking since I was really, really young. And I started hearing about blockchain and the new opportunities that these would open. As the owner of the technology company, that got me really interested because I saw it as a potential new wave that we could learn how it works and then have the potential to catch it. And that's how I started. But then I started understanding the possibilities and what you can do through it. And again, you guys have said it all, the trust and the fractional property. And that's what got me enticed with it. Today, I'm more and more focused on the transfer of digital assets because I believe that's the easiest application of anything that you can do on the blockchain. And we're looking and developing projects to move ahead.
Yeah, initially, actually, when blockchain came across, it was with Bitcoin. One of my best friends, is investing in he was investing in real estate, and he said, yeah, and I have this great opportunity. You have to see this, and this is the next big thing, you know. And of course, I heard about blockchain before. I think it was in 2013 or something, you know. He said, yeah, look at this, and I said, yeah, you know, but I don't know what's going on, and I didn't dive in it too deep. And later on, you know, he started to make. I was like, hey, I started getting curious, you know, and I started looking at videos of Andreas Antonopoulos, and I really got hooked into his vision also, and I started reading like basically everything I could find on the internet. I was like, hey, you can't hear me, Gonzalo? Can you hear me, guys? Or
yeah, now it got better. Sometimes it just freezes the connection a little bit, but now it's hearing you correctly, Quincy.
Yeah, so basically also I got interested due to the investing part. Technology and all the things you can do with it. But yeah, you know, it's all about learning and educating and spending time, because there's so much to get to know about this industry, and we don't know where this is heading, you know. There's so much to do. And I believe that we only know like this, and it's, yeah, like I said before, it's like the beginning of the internet, you know. Initially, we didn't think about doing everything with the internet. If your phone doesn't work now, you don't have an internet connection, like I had like 2 weeks ago when I was on holiday. I went crazy, like, hey, damn, what's going on? I don't have internet. My life stands still or something else.
Yeah.
And as well in transferring value, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's interesting that, Miguel, you mentioned about digital assets and what excited you to come on to blockchain. Can you tell a little bit more about how you foresee blockchain coming into and tokenization, or how this digitization of assets itself could revolutionize or give an opportunity for entrepreneurs to come on board and scale their enterprises?
Yeah, so I totally understand what Quincy said. I've been working with some people, and Quincy and I met actually with the guys from Decred, and I've been having a lot of talks, because again, if I want to build something that's disruptive and a product for the future, where is the low-hanging fruit? And that's, again, your question, the digital assets. Going back to real estate and what Quincy was saying. So initially, we started even talking about the project for timeshare, and to apply timeshare to fix the issue and the trust issue with the timeshare issue, industry, and apply and develop a project based on blockchain to that industry. But then the issue was, legally wise, will Portugal recognize that I own that part of whatever, a fraction of a house? And it would never work. So more and more I'm focusing on data, on things that data is exchanged, that I can track, and that there is some issues. So the first one, it's the ownership of the data. It's not on the correct side. It should be somewhere else. Let's say the user. There is optimizations to be done there, because there are third parties, so companies in the middle asking a lot of money to do service that can be automated today, and those are the directions where I'm focusing on. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, Santos.
You mentioned about real estate, and then you mentioned about moving to the assets which are low-hanging fruits for you to bring it on blockchain. Tell me a bit more about real estate side of things, right? So if you were to realize how real estate will be disrupted by blockchain, where do you see the role of regulations, and how, because it's a gray area for cryptocurrencies and blockchain itself, right? When we talk about regulations, ideally you see people saying crypto is in a gray area or stuff like that. How does all of this affect blockchain as an industry, and where do you see the role of government for the digitization of asset space?
Yeah, I think that's it's going to take a long time. Even in actually at the Web Summit last year, we're talking with the Portuguese government and whatnot to understand how and what were they thinking to do about so regulating. If I have a project that says that in whatever ledger I own part of a house or a weekend or whatever it is, they would validate it, and we are years away from that to happening. So that's why I'm focusing on stuff that it's not dependent on that. And everyone that's here probably heard this. There's only two proof of concepts in this crypto space or with blockchain. That's the cryptocurrencies and CryptoKitties. Those are the ones that people talk more about. And if you think about it, they are digital assets. The cryptocurrencies, they are digital assets that you can convert into money to transfer it to fiat or whatever it is, but they are still in that space. Everything that needs to be regulated from a government through the legal system, we're not ready, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely from a compliance standpoint, we need a lot more work to be done. But strictly speaking, taking the best essence of blockchain itself, I believe smart contracts will start automating a lot more business functions, which is where there's already adoption. And the first use case which got automated through the smart contracts itself was fundraising. And that's what disrupted the VC industry, which is like hundreds of years old. And in 1 year, it has overtook the fundraising. It's essentially, say it as a regulated or an unregulated asset class. At the end of the day, it's a tech automation which has resulted in multiple companies fundraising multi-million dollars in the last couple of years. And this has been a threat to a traditional venture capital fundraising industry itself, right? Just the same way as you would see more and more business applications of the smart contracts and automation coming in, and obviously that brings in much more positivity. Currently, you see the largest application of blockchain being cryptocurrencies, and that's a gray area. But as I foresee everything which you see in real world right now, from an asset standpoint, just like how we have World Wide Web, I believe there will be a worldwide ledger, and then everybody will start plugging into this worldwide ledger, right? That's where the ecosystem is going towards. Again, cryptocurrencies being one application. There are 6 other asset classes which are believed to come onto blockchain, starting with, apart from cryptocurrencies, which like Bitcoin or Zcash, you have things like protocol tokens, Ethereum, etc., on top of which you can build applications which are commonly called dApps, or distributed/decentralized applications can run on top of these protocols, which could utilize things called utility tokens, which is the third crypto asset class. The fourth being security tokens, which is where the government recognized or real world recognized asset classes coming onto blockchain, which I personally believe will be the largest market in future. But as Miguel rightly pointed out, we're still a little, I wouldn't say a lot of years away, but few years away from that to happen, because governments are still way behind in terms of how the tech is evolving. And from a community standpoint, this community is evolving at a pace unparalleled to any other ecosystem, right? Obviously, when you see even grandmoms talking about whether to invest in Bitcoin, you know that the community is going strong in terms of marketing and PR. But from a delivery standpoint, right, I believe regulations will bring that stability to the ecosystem, which was lacking. And I would love to know more about, maybe Quincy, you could talk a bit about how existing startups could leverage this ecosystem or the model of fundraising, how ICOs works, how STOs works, and what's happening around this space.
That's a good question. Actually, I would like to return it to you. Maybe you could tell something about it. I believe that you're maybe more familiar with that part. So maybe you could, tap into that one.
I mean, just like I said, ICOs were the first use case of saying how you could do crowdfunding on blockchain in a much more, trustless manner, because trustless is a controversial keyword, right? When we say as an ecosystem, when we say trustless, we are creating a trustless environment. People often get confused to less trust environment. They're both entirely different. So in a trustless manner, the way you could raise money from global investors was a pretty exciting use case demonstration. And I believe at the same time, what this ecosystem didn't take into account is the human factor of scams. That is, people not delivering on what they promised their investors to deliver, which is where we usually trust government as a middleman, right? Today, between us as people who are interacting with each other or transacting with each other in a society, we have government as a middleman to enforce things like this. With that not existing, when the ecosystem tried to automate it end to end, it resulted in a collateral damage. That's investors getting scammed into few projects. But I believe security tokens is a pretty exciting space. There's already regulatory positive signs which we are seeing from US in terms of Reg D+, and companies doing regulated token sales. Switzerland has pretty compact regulations on security token offerings, which are called STOs. So that means any startup today fundraising, how do I fundraise? I either have to fundraise from friends and family or seed rounds or angel rounds and VC funds, or I go to crowdfunding platforms on the internet like AngelList or Seeders or stuff like this today. But ICOs obviously are maybe 1,000 times bigger than all of this, right? So that's what they've proved in the past. The power of crowd is truly realized on blockchain rather than on internet, because internet doesn't have trust as an abstraction layer. That's why we believe in middlemen, that is the internet companies. That's where I see the ecosystem going towards in terms of fundraising. We've seen various mechanisms of fundraising in blockchain ecosystems, ranging from ICOs, which are called initial coin offerings, which is like an equivalent of a IPO, but not exactly. It's an equivalent of an IPO where you fundraise, not with a equity liability, but with a utility as your fundamental logic. That is, you're saying your organization is no more just represented on contracts as a firm. It is represented on smart contracts as a community, which will build stuff decentrally and is incentivized decentrally. The whole ecosystem is changed from how real world to crypto works. So if I were to explain a bit of parallels of ICOs, things to note in this space is there is no difference between a currency and a stock in this ecosystem, where in real world, for example, I raise in currency and then I give out my equity. That's how I raise for a startup, right? But in an ICO, you give away your utility tokens, you raise money. At the same time, it becomes an economic model rather than a business model. It operates on the fundamentals of supply demand, and it's an equivalent of IPO in the sense because it's traded publicly. So the utility token is traded publicly instead of your equity traded publicly, like in the IPO sense to ICO. But a more regulated way of doing this ICO is called a security token offering, which is where I foresee more and more startups coming in and doing more STOs, because the benefit of doing an STO is you can offer your STO tokens, that is your equity getting tokenized on blockchain, to almost any country's investors wherever equity regulations apply. That gives you a larger pool of investors to raise money from, rather than just raising from investors who can only invest in your own country. And that's where I foresee the fundraising market going on. But utility tokens, I'm bullish on everything on blockchain, because I think all these analog contracts will become digitized, and that's has to happen. That's bound to happen. So that's my bet on blockchain. We can't hear you, Stu.
You need to unmute yourself, man. Oh, okay. Gestural communication now. It's
right.
not working, man. It's a great app, by the way. Do you think these guys are going to get like an ICO, Santosh? The crowdcast.io? Will you buy some? So you will invest in them a little bit?
Crowdcast?
It's this thing, man. It's going terribly because Stuart is trying to talk,
so
and it's
Stuart says, check the questions, but I can actually open it.
Let's see, message of Stuart. I don't see any questions
in the chat.
You need to click the questions. 4 questions there.
Ask a question.
Yeah, it says how does blockchain work and stuff like that. But I was just expecting if there are any audience questions which we could take impromptu, because the conversation is going more natural, organic way. So,
how about
any
now?
question
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you perfect. There you are.
Crowdcast, you can't.
We were just wrapping up. We were just wrapping up, actually.
All right, come on. Let's just start with the basic though. Why don't somebody explain how blockchain works?
Is Antonio here already or not?
No,
he can't get on for some reason. It has beaten him so far, but so here I am.
Yeah. So who wants to answer the NFT use cases? Quincy, please go ahead. Kill them.
The question. The
there on the slide.
Yeah, so we have a question. Non-fungible tokens.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, Quincy, are you there?
Yeah, but
I think it's breaking. Santosh, go for it. Maybe I don't know if you can answer it.
Yeah, and now that real estate and CryptoKitties have been talked about, NFT in media would be an interesting topic.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely, right? So, I mean, even to take a step back, I can talk a bit about fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. But does anyone want to take Stu's question before to explain it to everyone, maybe right from the scratch? How does blockchain work? Miguel, would you like to go for that? And I can then explain about fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens, because it's a little more advanced.
And then I'll just start from there and then evolve to the other one. So
hear anything.
Sure. All right. So if who said about CryptoKitties right now in the cast? You, right? Me. Yeah. So why don't you start with explanation of like what is your introduction of CryptoKitties, or I'll take a cue from there, right? So CryptoKitties, most people would have heard about this in PR articles or stuff. The project which clogged Ethereum claimed to build non-fungible tokens which could be traded between people. So coming to what is fungibility and what's non-fungibility. Fungibility is, let's say you have your euros, 1 euro to another euro is a fungible currency. That is, there is no difference. You can't say, I just want, you can independently still recognize as government, but from a consumer standpoint, whoever is utilizing this currency, both are the same. 1 euro coin I have and another euro coin you have is the same. But a non-fungible token is where it's not the same. The applications of this is, again, as vast as the first use case of blockchain, that is cryptocurrencies itself. Non-fungible tokens are today utilized, as someone mentioned, in media. At the same time, not just in media, it could be utilized to track and trace multiple assets. That is, when you actually recognize an asset as a non-fungible asset on blockchain, it brings in multiple features which you could leverage on. to start with, recognizing it in a unique manner. So any use case where you would want that uniqueness, you would go for non-fungible tokens rather than fungible tokens. And then all the inherent positive features of blockchain come along with it, which are having the audit trail of this token getting transacted everywhere. You have that audit trail put on blockchain. And then this whole information is also decentralized. So you are basically, it becomes immutable. One person cannot come and change this information. So the benefit of that is we start creating more and more trustworthy, transparent systems than what we created on the internet. To take that hook to why blockchain, right? How does it work? Essentially, there are multiple components to this. It's a larger question, right? You're trying to understand blockchain in just one question, but I'd like to break it more fundamentally. If I were to have a like a distributed accounting book, that is what is called a distributed ledger, right? Let's start from a distributed ledger. That's which was talked about even before blockchain as a buzzword came into picture. So distributed ledger, what does it allow us to do? Let's say if everybody who is part of this cast is currently using or transacting with each other, and then if only one central gatekeeper like Stuart is maintaining our transactions, he can always come and change our account balances, right? And he has the power. And if everyone says, yes, Stuart is 100% trustworthy and he will never ever cross the rule book, and we all say, okay, then we are basically trusting one central party. But that's a different topic. Now imagine this at a scale of 7 billion people, right? How can we trust one individual or one entity, right? We cannot. So that's where distributed ledger gives us a advantage, where that immutability, if someone's changing something, it's still put on blockchain, so you know that who is making the changes, and the audit trail is recorded. And if it's a public blockchain, it's transparent to everybody who is utilizing it, which leads me to the next question of what's happening in blockchain. Classification into public, public/permissionless, permission, and private blockchains, which could probably be discussed in maybe one of our next following casting sessions, where it's an advanced topic. We could also discuss more about non-fungible token use cases, but based on what Stuart has suggested, this is our first session on blockchain. So I'd like to take it more fundamental. Think of it like a distributed accounting book, which is running, which is like a database, which is a parallel of a distributed database. And then there is a lot of automation happening on this through smart contracts that to eliminate middlemen, which is what the striking features for me for blockchain are compared to internet, where internet doesn't have this trust as an abstraction layer, and internet companies are the middlemen with today trust, which has led to so many privacy violations at today's context. That's why it's very important, and that's why I believe blockchain plays a key role, starting with privacy and trust for me.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much, Santosh. That's very cool.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I'm so happy I passed the answer to Santosh. So good job, man.
It's a great input from Santosh today. So we've got lots of questions in here. One of the questions, which I don't know the answer to, is can you name any blockchain projects implemented by the Portuguese government? For example, Georgia and UK has property registration on blockchain. Switzerland has a number of state initiatives. You guys heard of anything done by the Portuguese government?
I haven't heard of anything yet, but I've seen, one cool implementation is by Estonia as a government, which is implementing a lot of blockchain use cases around their e-residency program. I truly believe from a fundraising standpoint, definitely any government should explore. All these Startup Portugal, Startup Europe, any of these programs should definitely leverage blockchain, should look at crowdfunding on blockchain quite seriously, because it has disrupted hundreds of years of VC industry already. And no doubts on the crypto should hinder innovation, and innovation should be accessible we should be able to invest in innovation anywhere in the world. It shouldn't be bound by these contracts and regulations from governments. Personally, that's what I believe will be a killer for the Portuguese government to implement, because Startup Portugal is quite active. And Web Summit is also based in Portugal, which is also turning out to be like a hub for startups. Definitely, government has to consider or look into fundraising on blockchain. That's for me is a winner for government use case.
Santosh, you going to be at Web Summit this week? Sorry, this year.
No, I don't know, but I am in Portugal for Horasis next year. That's happening in March, which is a gathering started by ex-World Economic Forum guys, where a lot of governments and so I'm focusing more on events which bring together multiple stakeholders. Web Summit is super exciting for sure. I still don't know, but I've confirmed my participation for Horasis. That's March 2020, next year. I am definitely going to be in.
Nice. What about you, Miguel? Are you going to be at Web Summit?
Yeah, I am. I was just looking and trying. So there's a project that's called UTrust. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
Yeah.
No.
It's a Portuguese project, so it's not backed by the government, but they did invest in it. I'll drop the link here. So it's UTrust, and there's a group, an investment group here called Blockchain Capital that I heard of in Portugal, and those are probably some of the best referrals. Benfica sports team. I like that guy. So we'll apply something. We'll talk about them to implement blockchain to buy tickets and for the loyalty program or something like that. Yeah,
I thought you were a Sporting fan. I didn't know you were Benfica.
Hey, I'm not religious, let's put it that way. People here in Portugal take sports Benfica really seriously. Yeah, so there's some projects happening here. The government, it's still trying to decide, like the majority of the governments, in what to do in this area. So the short answer, it's they haven't backed up. They're looking at it, but nothing has been regulated.
What are the most active funds investing in blockchain space in Portugal?
It's these guys outside, the Blockchain Capital guys.
Blockchain Capital. I also have seen Indigo Capital have blockchain as their mandate. Did they make any investments in blockchain?
Yeah, and that I know of, no. Maybe on UTrust, because Indigo, it's a global fund that they invest in all kind of startups, and they have areas that they have more interest in. Blockchain is one of them.
Okay. Quincy, why don't you tell us a bit more about tokenizing gold? How's that working out for you?
Well, to be honest, we had a discussion about scammers. This company I was working with tokenizing gold, and it was actually tokenizing bonds. What they did is in the last 5 years, they acquired like 50 million euros from investors to purchase gold. And it was a Ponzi. So these guys are locked up. Yeah. So it's really a pity. 30 million is still missing. But
so not going that well.
No, we were tokenizing the gold bond, so definitely not going well, especially not for these guys. So it was really a pity, and especially also for the investors, because the target group is like people between 40 and 65. They lost a whole lot of money, and these guys they ran the company 5 years. Everything looked really good, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really big.
And Quincy, I know you're a big fan of Bitcoin. Have you been involved in any other cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, well, I looked at a few.
but Bitcoin is like the yeah. I'm not a Bitcoin maximist or something, but yeah, there's a lot going on in the space. And if I look at adoption, especially now, if you look at the dApps, so there are a few dApps, but the adoption, there are like 107,000 users for the last 24 hours, and I see a lot going on with Tron. So I don't know, he's getting a lot of mainstream attention.
That's a good question. We have. What do you guys think of Libra? Miguel, do you have any thoughts on Libra?
Yeah, I'm going to invest in it.
You're going to invest in it with $10 million as a validator.
Yeah, that's my short answer. So I do think that if someone can get the mass adoption, probably it's going to be those guys, and I do think it's a very serious contender and something that we should be all looking out for, and
especially very create awareness, and that's basically what we need in this industry. So when Facebook mentioned Libra, and when they dropped the white paper, everybody was like, "Hey, blockchain," and so that's a good thing. Especially the awareness is good.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, definitely. But just to clarify, that is not a cryptocurrency which is decentralized. It's a centralized form of digital currency built on blockchain, which is like an equivalent of your PayPal or stuff like that, or a WeChat currency built on blockchain. But definitely from an adoption point of view, it's going to bring a lot of blockchain adoption. But the misnomer is, I don't think Libra is cryptocurrency. So people who are talking about it as cryptocurrency, again, the community thinks it's not decentralized enough. But we don't know, right? The project could shape into or transform into something. Currently, Libra functions in a paid validator model where there are companies like MasterCard, etc., PayU, etc., have paid $10 million to buy that seat to take the decision-making rights for Libra to participate in their governance. So that's, but from an adoption perspective, if Facebook is behind it, definitely it's going to bring a lot of adoption. That's my perspective.
Miguel, what do your friends at Decred think about Libra?
I don't think I can answer that. But again, I think Santos answered that. It's not. Come on, it's not decentralized. It's not unequal to what the other open source projects were there. But it's something that will break the fear and will be used and will get people using it. And once they understand that there's an alternative, I think that will help all this industry to scale up.
And that's spot on, because people use Facebook on their mobile phone, and that's basically also what we need for blockchain, that it's easy to use. And that's something that is really hard now, with the private keys and public keys. And this is the first step. If Libra comes out and people understand that they have value on their phone, they're also going to treat their phone or their wallet on their phone as something different, because there's money, there's actual money. And that's something that we need, and they need to understand that their data has value. And that's also something that is happening now, and also with the claim that, or actually the fine that Facebook received, and people are hearing more about it. And I think that's also a really good thing, and it could help us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, all of them become compatible, and their economy itself runs on Libra itself could be, could have a very wider adoption than a lot of national currencies itself, right? So I'm quite looking forward to a lot of stuff they do at Libra as well. The other question we have is US government strategy of making it a global standard in cryptocurrency, just like how they made USD became the global standard in fiat. We still don't know that, because Libra is a Facebook currency, and I'm quite not sure how much would be a government involvement in that. It definitely sounds like a conspiracy theory for now, but yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen.
So what do you guys think about blockchain and crypto as well, really breaking down the definition of countries and borders in the way that we used to know them?
Yeah, I truly believe in that. I'm a e-resident in Estonia. Also for small countries like Malta, or there's a lot going on in that space as well. Identity is a really interesting subject in the blockchain industry, you know. Also being able to choose, you know, and I think for geographical borders, I don't feel like typical Dutch or something, you know, because we all travel a lot, and I'm just a human being here on Earth, and luckily I live in the Netherlands, so I can travel freely, etc., etc. But yeah, I think it's a really good thing that we are able to choose now.
I mean, at the end of the day, these things are very disruptive to tax revenues, right? And governments depend very heavily on tax revenues to deliver their services. And if you either can't find people or their money is elsewhere, then the taxes can't be received in the same way, right?
True.
For the cryptocurrencies, yes, but if governments start leveraging blockchain, they can actually collect taxes in a much more efficient way. So it's a yes for blockchain and a no for crypto.
Okay, interesting. What do you think, Miguel? Do you think there'll still be a Portuguese boundary between Portugal and the rest of the world?
I was looking for a passport that they gave me at Consensus like 2 years ago or something like that. That was something called Decenturion. I don't know if you guys heard about it. It was a state that doesn't exist anywhere. It's not like Estonia. So it was a state that would be run in the cloud, basically, and you'd be citizen number X with their own rights. And so something really, really weird. It was a marketing stunt more than anything else. And I'm trying to answer with something that's kind of funny, but I think that's where the world is going to go. And it's the mega cities trend and all these things. So the world, its borders are getting thinner and thinner, and they weren't there already for digital services and a lot of these things. They have been passing through borders for the last 20 years. It's just that politicians and everyone is assuming that the rules are still the same. They aren't.
Yeah,
absolutely. But when will everybody realize?
Hey, maybe we invite Marcelo and the Libra guys to these calls, and if they work better, they'll understand it.
We'll do that one on Zoom, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of reaching towards the end of our time before we start the demo. So what I'd like to ask is from each of you to give your predictions for the next 3 years. What are we going to see different in terms of adoption of blockchain in the next 3 years? Santosh, you first, then Miguel, then Quincy to close.
I'll start with prediction. You will not even know that you will be using blockchain, but you will be using it. That's my prediction.
Oh. I don't like it.
Which one of you will be using it?
That I go first?
You will be using
it. Come on then, Miguel, what do you think?
Okay, so next 3 years, I do again spot on what Santos just said, but I do think that we'll start seeing some profitable business based on blockchain, and that will give a lot of trust to investors, and I think the traction will be built up from there. When we see business making money and is adding value and disrupting and really cutting down the middleman and making it cheaper for the end consumer and them having more control over their data, that's when it will start to get mass adoption.
Miguel, one question for you, because you're talking about businesses making profit, but is it not like, in my beliefs, it's not only like the business who are going to make profit, we're going to benefit as users or the people, you know. So what do you think about that?
I think it's a capitalist world, and it's money that still makes the world go round. And when the investor sees that there's money in this industry, they will put their money in it, and we will develop a lot of stuff that will do the world a good job and will make our lives easier. So that's my short answer.
Okay, what do you want to say to close us out, Quincy?
I think I heard about everything. Yeah, Santos, what you said was basically like wrapping up everything, and yeah, that's about it.
Santos owns it. All right, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. I need one of you to stay on to help me with the demos. Which one wants to stay on the list? I know it's late for you, Santos.
But
Miguel, can you stay on?
Really good contribution.
Yes, fantastic, Santos.
I can for how long is it going to be? 1 more hour, yeah? Let's go for the demo.
Half an hour.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
Santos, thank you, sir. Much obliged.
Thank you.
All right, please stay on and watch Abhishek.
Yes.
Thank you very much. See you later. And Quincy, thank you very much for joining us all the way from the Netherlands.
Take care, guys.
Thank you very much. All right, let's find Frank and let's add him in. And Miguel, you get to ask Frank loads of questions. Okay, so we're learning a lot on this first online demo night. Frank, are you there? Can you join?
You guys see me okay? Hear me okay?
Hey, yeah, Frank, fantastic. Thanks for being here. All right, this one worked first time. Come on, Crowdcast, you can do it. All right, so Frank, you should be able to share your screen if you want to, and you're very welcome here your first time. So please introduce us to what Tunnel.money can do.
Yeah, would it be best, I'm having issues here actually screen sharing our product. Okay. Would it be easier just to show some slides? Would that be fine than actually demoing it? For some reason, it's not allowing me to share it on my screen. But okay, I can share some slides.
Fine, no problem.
Okay, hold on here. And there's a screen share option right here. And just trying to get this thing going.
No, I know you're in Greece today, but I wore my tribute shirt for you, okay?
Yeah, it's what the weather hasn't been bad here at all. So that's all I could say. It's the application. Yeah, it's not finding my. Let me try to share my entire screen, and let's see if you guys can see that. Okay.
If you can leave your credit card details in the top right-hand corner, that would be great. Thank you.
Can you guys see it?
Just coming up now, yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so I'll give you guys a little bit of background on myself. So I've been involved in technology for over 20 years. I've been involved in distributed ledger technology since around 2011. I had a couple of friends of mine that were passionate about Bitcoin, and they were just chasing me around, telling me, hey, you got to look at this Bitcoin thing, you got to look at this Bitcoin thing. And I kept chasing them away, thinking that they were a couple of crazy guys and didn't want anything to do with it and really didn't understand what it was. And then in 2011, I read this Wired article about Bitcoin, and I really got drawn into it. And I read the 9-page Nakamoto Proof of Work Consensus white paper, and I fell down the proverbial rabbit hole since then, and did everything from mining, investing, getting heavily involved in not only the local community, but internationally as well. Been involved in a lot of projects and in ecosystem since then. And also helped co-found the Boston Blockchain Association and started this amazing company called Tunnel. And going to share a little bit about what we do today. So to be clear, our technology is not a blockchain. It is not decentralized. And it's, hold on a second, please. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Can you guys see me okay? Hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, so we look at our platform as a fiat-based global real-time payment system. It's all powered by our proprietary distributed ledger technology that we built from the ground up. So to be clear, our tech is, again, not blockchain. It's not crypto-based. It is a permission system that is fiat-driven. So our goal with our system is to basically bridge and integrate the 42 faster payment systems that are around the world today. So a lot of these systems are single currency systems that are native to different currency zones. And we see ourselves as solving a major problem of interconnecting these real-time payment networks across the world, all while reducing fraud and being operational 24/7. So that's kind of our high-level mission statement right out of the gate. Moving money internationally has been a challenge, and there are a lot of incumbents in that space. And we see that as a pretty large market opportunity, not only from the global remittance standpoint, but also from a cross-currency value transfer standpoint. And we see still distributed ledger technology as the killer application to go solve that problem. So our go-to-market product is basically a multi-currency global Venmo-like system that allows you to seamlessly move money in a peer-to-peer way to anyone, anywhere in the world instantly, and pretty much for almost zero cost. So just like you would do with Venmo, you would search your friends and be able to send money. And it's all powered by our high-performance DLT. The system is a debited-based system, and it works cross-currency real-time. The platform has already been built. It's fully operational and running on Amazon and AWS. And we've already demonstrated and shared a lot of performance data, which I'll get to in some later slides. The other cool thing that we've built into our system is the in-person payments capability of being able to do a cross-currency real-time payment in person to someone you don't know, either by tap and pay or through QR code. And that can happen anywhere, anytime in the world. So this particular example is someone just tipping a valet they don't know from one currency to another currency. And then those funds are available instantly and real time to the other party, and they can go spend it and use it instantaneously. Heard a lot of talk earlier about some different platforms out there. So this slide kind of paints the picture, talking about a lot of the tech out there today from a distributed ledger technology stack standpoint, focusing on value transfer and other types of systems. To the upper left are mostly the decentralized platforms. PayPal's been thrown in there, and if you look at Ripple, they have a theoretical limit of around 1,500 transactions per second. We still see VisaNet as the global standard for a global real-time payments network. Ripple is more of a bank-to-bank settlement system, and Swift has their Corda R3 system, and Corda has been quoted to only be able to do about 170 transactions per second. JP Morgan's Quorum on a single node theoretically has hit around 1650, but more typical applications, it's in the hundreds of transactions per second. Same with Hyperledger, where they're both really derivatives of Ethereum at the end of the day, still based on traditional blockchain type of technologies. And in the Libra white paper, they're quoted around a theoretical limit of about 1,000 transactions per second. So we see ourselves as probably one of the only true DLTs out there that can scale dynamically and exceed the capacity of VisaNet. So it's not only transactions per second, it's also sustainability. A lot of these other systems, there's always this balance act between information in a block and the way they're structured, and sustainability and scalability. And we've solved both of those at the fundamental with our ledger and our chain.
Hey Frank, we just had a quick question here from Brian, which was, do you see Stellar Lumens as a competitor?
No, I don't. I don't see any blockchain as a competitor from a real-time payment standpoint. So IBM even experimented, and I think they even bought a company based on Stellar Lumens stablecoin technology, and they really can't get to that real-time, true real-time performance needs. And Stellar Lumens is really very similar in structure to Ripple. As opposed to Ripple, it's a decentralized system, so it's actually even theoretically slower in some aspects than RippleNet. So no, I don't see it as a competitor in any way, shape, or form from a real-time standpoint. Like all these systems, I think, have their use cases. I think Stellar Lumens and other decentralized assets like Bitcoin and others, I think, will have their place in the world. And I think there was even some talk around Libra and where it could grow. But from our standpoint, focused on a fiat-based payments network, not a crypto-based system, and using the power of a distributed ledger technology. And so I see banking and FI kind of one extreme, and libertarian, decentralized assets as the other extreme. And that's been evident with countries like India banning Libra coin or not allowing it to come to market. Obviously, Facebook's not even allowed in China. And all the issues in Congress around cryptocurrencies and the like. So we see Tunnel as kind of that middle ground. I think it was also mentioned in the call earlier where we're hoping people aren't even going to know they're using a DLT in the background, but just a much better payment experience, a much more secure payment experience, and much more ubiquitous payment experience. And not only have we built the back end, but we've also built the front end for our tech stack. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
We just got 2 minutes left. So as they say, where you come from, let's cut to the chase.
Yeah. That's kind of what we do. And I can kind of just jump forward and just get to a quick summary here. So it's a real-time cross-currency system. It operates 24/7. We've also built a digital identity platform integrated into our system. So there's trust in the value transfer up front. Everything's ultra low cost. It operates on the cloud, and there's seamless integration to our banking and FI partners. And we have a rich suite of APIs for people to plug in and integrate to. So again, our go-to-market product is a global Venmo. And then we're looking to expand to global B2B payments, where we see that as being one of the largest value and market opportunities out there today for us to tackle. We see Ripple focused on bank-to-bank value transfer, Swift in that space. We see a lot of others focusing on all different segments, but we're focused on the true real-time value transfer segment. So I think we're really well positioned today for that, and we're pretty excited to get things going over the next couple months.
Fantastic, thank you. Quick question from Brian: what are the transaction fees of Tunnel?
So right now, everything on network is zero cost.
So the obvious question is, how do you make any money?
So there's many opportunities there from a small spread on the. So first off, because we're our own rails, we're not dependent on running over VisaNet or MasterCard Net and dealing with their interchange fees. So we can basically provide a small markup over the interbank rate, much smaller than anyone else, and we see a pretty great opportunity there. We, just like Venmo and other peer-to-peer systems, we do plan on getting a small fee on the withdrawal from the digital wallet. Then we see an upside potential and huge opportunity on the DI platform, and a lot of the FI partners are really excited around that. And we also are planning on linking a debit card to digital wallet. So when transactions, so if I send you money right now on Tunnel, you can go use that debit card and access those funds instantly. So that's kind of our approach from a multiple front from a, how can I say this, how do we make money standpoint.
Okay. Miguel, what do you want to ask?
Congratulations, looks really, really interesting. The transactions per second, it's a big issue in all of the industry. So if you hack that, probably you have a fighting chance to make this work. I wanted to ask, do you guys, will you guys accept so other currencies, cryptocurrencies there, or it's just fiat for now?
Just fiat.
Okay. And how would you, final question, how would you differentiate this from another blockchain project? Why is it not blockchain?
So it's not. So, so if you, I think someone talked about blockchain structure earlier. Our distributed ledger structure is very fundamentally different. So a blockchain is almost like a flavor of a DAG architecture, where it's a directed data set of information stored in blocks, and you have linked keys from one block to another. And you have all the transactions kind of mashed up together. And then the other issue with these blocks is obviously the memory limits associated with blocks, whether you fill those blocks or not, and then the fundamental of delta T time of when you have generation, right? So a lot of these systems kind of cheat a little bit, and they show their theoretical performances. And like if you see like Quorum, oh, we can have on one node, we can do 1650 transactions per second. But what they don't talk about as they're speeding up their block generation, they're not becoming sustainable. So you hear about a lot of these crazy projects out there that say, oh, I can do 100,000 or 1 million transactions per second, and they hit petabytes within like, you know, less than a day or so. So we're very lean and light at the same time. I don't want to get into the IP, but we're able to hit that 25K amount at a fraction of what a lot of traditional blockchains can do in, let's say, like Bitcoin, in only like, you know, a few transactions per second. So we're very scalable and very sustainable. So we have all the good features of the blockchain with none of the bad features. And that's been kind of our focus from day one, is building it up from the fundamental and understanding the challenge.
Great answer, and yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Different technology, distributed ledger, and it's done in a way so that you can optimize the transaction speed, and it can be scalable. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's dynamic too. So we only scale per load. So if we don't have the transaction load, as the load increases, we just scale up and add nodes to the network to handle the capacity needed on our system, as opposed to a lot of other systems. So even at peak capacity, our back office cost on AWS is only about 200K transactions per, about 200,000 a month. Excuse me.
Awesome stuff. Congratulations, Frank.
So Frank, you've got probably the best question you can ever get from a discussion like this. So is Tunnel accepting investors? Yes, we are. Fantastic.
We have active. We closed our pre-seed funding last year, and we have a note open right now, and we're planning to go into our Series A, starting probably around October-ish this year, starting that process. So right now, we're doing a bridge note, and we've already had some funds coming in. We haven't hit our mark yet, but we just opened it up just a few weeks ago. So yeah, we're actively seeking investors. No one is interested. Please feel free to reach out and you can connect to me directly. My email address is frank@tunnel.money.
Very good. All right. So thank you very much. Really appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us from Greece.
All right.
Now, I'm going to drop you off the feed now, and I've included your link though in the things as we've gone along, so everybody's got a copy of that. Okay.
All right. Thanks, take care, everybody.
See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So now joining us from the UK, we have Lewis. Are you ready, my friend?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Do you have any slides you want to share, or are you just going to talk for this one?
I have slides. I've shared them.
Let's see if Crowdcast can be our friend. Come on, Crowdcast.
Can you see?
No, we just see you and your big smiley face.
Sharing. Stop sharing. It's sharing already. It's not sharing. Let me try again. I got
no ICO for Crowdcast.
Okay, let me see.
I think we're going to get kicked out of here because of these jokes.
You think they're monitoring? That's right. I'm on Jack's login. It's fine.
Can you see the screen now?
No, still just you, my friend.
Maybe try and share the full screen, because Frank was trying to share a specific thing and he couldn't. Can you do like full screen, or?
Let me try full screen. The screen share.
Clowncast.
The entire screen. Okay. My entire screen. Can you see now? Any luck?
No, still just you, my friend.
So I think you need to improvise like every great entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Well, you're very passionate about your idea. Why don't you share it with everybody?
Change camera mic. Let me see. Video toggle. Right.
I can show people my little hand just to win some time.
That concerns me more than you know.
Okay, let me go back to the main screen. I say share.
Can you sing, Stuart?
I can sing a song. It's just only my kids and my wife need that. Okay.
Share screen and Chrome and that one. Can you see now?
Yes.
Got it.
Well done. Okay, so you have 5 minutes, my friend. Go for it.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Let me start by. My name is Louis Negaku. Originally, I am from Cameroon. I am one of the founders of Monifex. Monifex is a money transfer company based here in the UK. Monifex started as an idea because I am a founder of a charity, an international charity organization. When we used to send money to Africa to help families and kids for their education, we had issues with accountability. Whenever money is sent, this money could be used for other things rather than paying for the tuition of the kids. So that is where I came up with the idea of a transfer platform where I can have control on how money transferred from one country to another can be managed or have some level of accountability by the money sender. So what this is, this is a charity work that we're doing in Africa, and this is how it all started. So currently, with the existing money transfer company, most of them, they deal with bank deposit, cash pickup, and mobile money. And some of them, they do airtime top up. But none of them actually have an accountable system or cryptocurrency conversion. So that is where we come in with Monifex. So Monifex allow us to actually send money and also do conversion, because that's the early adoption of cryptocurrency. So how does this work? I'm just going to rush over this because of time. So the first thing is a user register on our platform. Okay. First, so let me just get this slide. Okay. So the money sender register a virtual wallet on our platform in the name of the recipient, who is in another country. When that is registered, the information is instantly shared with the receiver who lives in another country. The sender can deposit money into, or deposit currency into that virtual wallet, which is now accessible to the money receiver. And this money sender can also set control on how much can be withdrawn or spent from the money that has been sent. So we do an FX conversion of the currency. It could be cryptocurrency, it could be any other currency, but we FX it into the local currency, which can then be picked up. The issue with cryptocurrency is in Africa, it's not yet widely accepted by the government. So they need to be an FX, they need to be an exchange to a local currency so that a receiver can withdraw it. Then where do we position ourselves in the market? If you look at the money transfer markets, majority of the company, existing company, with online or offline cash transfer. Very few of them actually do bill payment. But in our case, we are bringing something new to the market, which will include cryptocurrency and a virtual wallet that will allow customers to be able to send money and also have some element or degree of control. For contact, remember I have just 5 minutes for this. So contact, you can contact this on our website or contact me directly for any other question. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's super speedy. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about, or tell everybody a little bit about where you're at the moment? How much of a platform do you have? How much more than an idea is it right now?
Our platform is almost completed, and at this stage we have started building a partnership with banks across Africa. Right now we are in Ghana. We're looking to go to Nigeria and also Cameroon. Okay,
and why are you focusing on those countries?
Those countries first. If you look at Nigeria, Nigeria is the biggest country that receives remittances from Africa, from around the world in Africa, and that is closely followed by Ghana. Cameroon is where I am from. That is why, obviously, we'll have to go to Cameroon.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Miguel, what questions do you have?
So what questions do I have? I would like to understand what kind of mechanisms of control. Can you give us some examples? So practical example, I will transfer money to my foundation to give books to kids in school X. How will I set the goals? How would that unfold?
Okay, the level, when we talk of control, first, a wallet is created in the name of the beneficiary. When this wallet is created, money can be deposited into this wallet. Once money is deposited into this wallet, the money sender can actually go into their platform or on their dashboard, actually set how much can be withdrawn or used from the money in the wallet. So by setting control, the beneficiary cannot withdraw beyond whatever you want them to get at a particular given time.
Got it. So it would be something that you'd say, if you reach milestone X, you can withdraw Y amount of money. And then if he gets another milestone, he can get another portion of the money. Something like that, that would be fluid. Yeah?
That's correct.
Cool. Cool. That was my question.
Okay, fantastic. So Luis, obviously what you're doing here is you're solving a problem for yourself, something that annoys you and frustrates you, and then helping others with a similar problem. Can you tell the audience a bit about your background? What did you study? What makes you credible in this space?
My background is I've been in the UK for close to 12 years now, all the way from Cameroon. I have a PhD in computing. I've done a lot of work. I've been in the computer industry for over 22 years. That is why this idea of solving a problem that I actually had came through.
Okay, fantastic. So I've put a little poll here to see what people think of your idea. And if people could answer it just in terms of would you use it, and if you don't get it, then just tick that part of the poll. Okay, so first questions come through. How are you funding yourself currently?
Funding now is coming through friends and family who have joined the initiative so that we can drive it through.
Okay, and are you looking for further investment, or have you got it all covered?
No, for sure. We need further investment down the line. As soon as we start operation, again, it's going to be a proof of concept. As soon as we start operation, we are going to go out to look for more funding in order to drive this down.
Okay, and the follow-up question online was, are you going to go for an ICO or an equity raise?
We're going to go for equity raise at this stage.
Okay, and why are you going there rather than with an ICO?
Again, this is something that we are going to look at, but for me, I think equity, getting people to get a piece of the pie is something that could actually make them to be an ambassador of the brand itself. So that is why we think equity raise will be great.
Okay, fantastic. And how can people help you?
For people to help us, you could contact us on using info@monifex.com, and then we could pick up a discussion and look at what direction you can bring help.
Okay. Quick question here from John. Where is your headquarters? Where's the company registered?
The company is registered in the UK, and our headquarters is here in London.
Okay. Why did you choose London rather than, say, somewhere in Africa to register?
I live in London.
Okay. So just made the paperwork easier? Or are there good tax regions for it or anything?
Yeah, it makes paperwork easier, and London is the center of business, especially proxy to other European countries and also America and Africa as well.
Okay, fantastic. You're getting some kudos for having a PhD. Congratulations. All right, and thank you very much for joining us here today and sharing your idea. Good luck with everything. Everybody at Canopy wishes you every success with it. So I'm gonna drop you out of the feed now. Thank you, my man. See you later. And Abhishek, I've just added you in, so if you can join us. Otherwise, Miguel's going to sing a song. Abhishek, all right.
Yes. Hi.
Great to have you here. I hope you have more success using Crowdcast than the rest of us today.
Right. So let me just try that.
Now, what I'm really worried about is after you, I've got to try and share a video from Tokens for Humanity, and it worked 50% of the time I tried it this morning. So let's see how that goes.
So how are we doing?
Okay, yeah, we've got your tabs open there. Free Flex, yeah. Yep. Program, stream, monetize.
Yes. So yeah. So
okay, just a quick comment. I don't know if you've got any headphones that you could use, but we're getting a bit of echo on the audio there. Do you have any headphones?
Not really, but just give me a second.
Okay, I'll talk a little less then.
Yeah, what about now? Are you guys able to hear me clear?
You've gone very quiet.
It's too low.
It's too low, yeah.
Yep. What about now?
Yeah, you're there. Yeah, you're there. If you had some headphones, that would be great. Otherwise, we just go for it.
All right. I'm sorry, guys. I do not have the headset or the headphones. I'll just continue.
No worries. Okay. No worries. Please just go for it.
Sure.
Time you 5 minutes, okay?
Yes. So it was a nice talk, everyone here, especially with the panel at the beginning and the demos later on. We are primarily a media company that have been working with blockchain for over 2 years now. So I'll start off by introducing myself and my partner. So I'm Abhishek from FreeFlix, joined by my partner Da. And we've been working with digital products for over 12 years now, with industries covering OTT, ERP, edutech, media, and blockchain. And during our time at media, we worked with a content house that did over 1 billion views on YouTube and reached 1 billion people on Facebook every month. So here we realized that media never disrupted media, but tech disrupted media, right? TV got disrupted by Netflix. And the media companies never operate like tech companies. So the way they handle things within are quite different. So without further ado, I'll just start off with the demo directly. I won't waste time in talking about the presentation, the market size, and things around that. So let me just start off. So if there is, if there are any people that have worked in media, just comment in the chat box. But fundamentally, what happens in media is there are a set of people that create content. There are a set of people that actually produce content. So they turn raw content into footage that can be uploaded. And then there are people that publish that onto multiple platforms right? And which then get monetized. So if you have a YouTube video, you have a lot of people working on that YouTube video. So you technically have someone to shoot the video. You have someone to actually write content, write the title, description, the hashtags, then, work on a thumbnail for the video, edit the video, make sure everything is in place, the technical encoding, the format, and then finally publish it. After publishing, you can't leave it dormant, but you'll have to end up utilizing, social media to amplify the video and make sure it is distributed at the right place to ensure the right kind of ROI or the monetization is achieved. So what we did with FreeFlix is we gave media houses a way to easily manage their content. We gave them a way to easily distribute content and monetize it. So it's manage, distribute, monetize for media organizations and for enterprises alike. So I'll just give you a demo of the platform so that you can understand how it can actually work in real time. We'll also get to the part where we, let you know how we use blockchain, and I believe that is the interesting part. So here I have logged in. So this is a demonstration. So it's a demo or a staging version that has been implemented for a client of ours. And how we are working is we make sure the entire workflow of the partner. So there is a media house called Wagged Out Media, and they have a set of users right now. And those users can access various stakeholders or entities of the platform. So here you have a partner that has given, Wagged Out, the media house, content, say there is a movie that has been given to Wagged Out for distribution onto multiple platforms like YouTube and Facebook. Now, what exactly happens within the media house? So the partner comes in, there's a new partner that is added, then his details. So if a partner is added, you have his details visible here. And let's say there's Marvel Studios that has come in, and we capture financial information. Let's say they have DBS Bank as their bank. So this financial information is captured to ensure partners are paid when there is monetization to the asset, right? And they have team members. There are 2 team members. There's a content manager and an IT manager, and you can also add new team members, right? So here there's information about a partner, and you have multiple partners like that. With each of these partners, you end up creating an agreement that will allow you to pick up rights for distribution onto multiple platforms, right? Once you get to see the information of an agreement, it is based primarily on multiple factors that go into the agreement. There's a tenure that's either finite or perpetual. There's a start date, end date. There are rights. There are partners that have been assigned, and there are rights that have been assigned. Finally, you can also upload files of the agreement itself, and details of the audit trail of the agreement are captured here. So a content owner gets to know who and when an agreement has been updated or edited. So here we are through. So there's a partner that came in. There's an agreement that was made. There's a piece of content that has been given to the media house, Wagged Out, and they grade content with their internal metadata, or they also have metadata that is specific to the asset. There's a release date, there's a release year, there's duration, and all of these are specific. So there's the IMDb URL and rating, which are specific to the asset, and they never change, right? So this way, there are lists of hundreds of assets that are added, and each of these assets, have information regarding them that can be quickly accessed. And for a media house, it is important that there is a single snapshot of the entire asset in the same place. So if you have a look at it here, we have a couple of details that have been added with partners, agreements. So let me have a look at it. Right. Yeah, so you have some data over here with the internal data tagged. There is the asset specific data. You have partners over here added. Then there are agreements to each of those partners that have been made, and the asset has been distributed on a specific platform, which is of type OTT. And if rights are added, there will be incoming and outgoing rights with asset files in place. So these asset files can reside on a local server of the media company, or they can reside on digital platforms like YouTube, so which can be downloaded. So apart from that, apart from the assets being listed, assets that are distributed onto multiple platforms, where we have platforms being listed, and each of these platforms will have lists of assets. So this is a very specific implementation that has been worked on based on the generic engine that we have, and this captures, every event that has happened within the media organization. And we are utilizing blockchain to primarily make sure users or stakeholders of this of the media organization or stakeholders of each activity within the organization or the workflow have complete clarity on what is happening within the platform and has information on who has accessed what within the platform directly. So this, we believe, will be a stepping stone to how media utilizes blockchain. One, it will be internal to themselves, and later, as well as it was discussed in the panel, there will be NFTs or non-fungibles that will be created for each asset within the platform, and rights for each of these will be traded upon. So digital rights management will effectively be on the ledger. So yeah, from a product standpoint, this is where we are at right now. We have an active implementation that's ongoing, and partners have added assets. And with the solution, we can also utilize these assets to program and stream assets without any human intervention. So you primarily have a live stream you're running right now that is powered by assets that are managed by the digital asset management software that we have.
Okay, fantastic. So we have a question over here, Abhishek. This is from, so say if I have around 5,000 movies with all the metadata, can I have all of them which can be saved on this single digital asset management platform?
Yes, so yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about here. So if you have 5,000 assets, this is, yeah, of course, this is a dummy number, but we have actually inserted 5,000 records to be able to test out the entire platform, right? So yes, you can manage all of that in the same platform, and you can access information on partners, agreements, platforms, rights, and even files. So not only that, but you can also track relations and make sure you have ancillary assets. So if there is the logo of a movie, or if there is a subtitle file for a movie, you can actually manage all of that from the same platform, right? And that will enable the entire workflow and streamline operations throughout the media organization.
Okay, Miguel, what questions do you have?
Yes.
Congratulations. Can you please mute your mic? Can you mute, please? Yeah, much better. Congratulations, great presentation. I would like to ask if you could walk us through a case where there's a video. Is it trackable, and is it like the views on YouTube, for example, tracked automatically into the platform? Is that stored there? So, and is there a how does the monetization system works?
So I just get so here what will happen is within the platform, if you saw, we have assets, and here you have assets that have been distributed onto multiple platforms. So if there is a platform like say Sony or Netflix or even YouTube, you have YouTube giving data on the total earnings that a video has generated. Similarly, if there is a distribution deal with Amazon, for example, you have the same piece of asset generating revenue from YouTube and Amazon, and all of this information will be tracked. So we are supposed to have revenue here where we track revenue, but right now that is not in place, but that is the plan. So we track monetization, and not only monetization, but also performance. So there is an internal time taken to actually deploy a video. So it might take 2 hours for the editor, 1 hour for the graphic, for 1 hour for the text, and so on and so forth. And total time taken for a video is 4 hours. And if that has generated, say, 1 million views and say $1,000, all of this data will be utilized in the content creation process. And blockchain primarily will help us understand, where each event has taken place and how it has performed in a holistic standpoint. Yeah,
Miguel,
I hope that has answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Stuart. Yes, you did. And do you guys have invested, and how long have you been developing this?
So right now, we are not invested. So we have not been funding. We are making sure to have implementations first, get our metrics right in terms of total streams being managed and total assets under management. And once we hit our targets of 100K assets under management and 100K minutes of streamed minutes, so we'll then go ahead for funding and make sure to scale it up. So by then, we believe we'll know inherent problems in terms of how we market the solution, and we'll also understand how we can effectively implement. So there'll be rollout, there'll be a product unbundling as well, and we'll make sure to derive solutions accordingly.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions in the feed here. How are you different from OpenText?
Yes. So yes, OpenText has a digital asset management solution where assets there are referred to as files. So it can be any file. It can be a text file, it can be an audio file, it can be a video file or an image. And all of these assets are managed with the context of an enterprise. So it's not a media house or content house that is actually managing content, but it is an enterprise that's managing files. So OpenText primarily, it is for the management of files within an organization, say documents or agreements, but it does not have the workflow intended for media management with the context of a media house, which will involve partners, content partners, payouts for them, digital rights management, and the distribution on multiple platforms. And of course, as my partner that I mentioned, OpenText does not use blockchain and has nothing to do with streaming.
Okay, fantastic. We had a question a little bit earlier about how customizable is the platform.
Right now, we are making sure there is a specific workflow and the engine is being built. But in future, we believe it will be an interface where people or business analysts or the biz guys can technically configure the entire workflow and make sure ops are deployed.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you being here today. Thank you. And if this next bit goes wrong, then you have been a great way to end the webinar today. So thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, so now it is my job to try and add and share a video with some sound and everything. So let's see how that goes. It did work 50% of the time earlier, so let's see if it works today. I guess the answer to that is no.
It's going to work, Stuart.
It's going to work. Come on, you can do it. Okay. Can you hear that, Miguel?
Not yet.
Really? You can't hear that?
Not me.
No.
If anyone else, it's of course. Nope. I think you need to walk us through it, Stuart.
No? Okay. Well, what I'll do is, hang on, let me just pause that. And what I'll do is I'll share that link with everybody in the feed, and you can watch it all later. But basically, these guys are from Australia. They're Tokens for Humanity, and they've pulled together a platform that does two things. Firstly, it enables people with cryptocurrency to donate to charities in Australia, and it enables the charities to receive them. They also have a kind of game, a raffle game, which is very popular in Australia, where you can basically, it's a game to raise money for the charity. So, and you can play with cryptocurrency. So I've dropped the link in there so that you can download it yourself and watch it. Very interesting guys. I've met them through the University of Brisbane, and the director there is somebody who used to be a director in the UK, and we've kept in touch while she's in Australia. These guys are people who came together to try and create more purpose, if you like, or fulfill a desire to do something meaningful. They've done a lot of trading in cryptocurrencies themselves, and they wanted to try and find a way to bring this into the philanthropic space. So very interesting stuff. They couldn't be with us today because of the time zone difference with Australia, and they've had to travel to a meeting this morning. So please, I thank you for downloading that and your patience with the fact that it didn't work just coming across. So thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Santosh. Thank you, Quincy. Thank you, everybody who's been involved today. This was our first online digital demo night experience. It's been a little bit bumpy at times, thanks to our platform of choice here, which was Crowdcast. But thank you for bearing with it. And for all of those that you've stayed all the way to the end, thank you very much indeed. What we'll do is we'll add to our YouTube channel literally the raw footage from this today when it's been downloaded from Crowdcast later today. Let's hope that part works, because it worked fine in the test, but then so did many things. Okay, and I really appreciate all the questions and things that you've asked along the way, and for contributing to the polls as well. So this was Canopy's 30th consecutive monthly demo night, and next month we will be in Lisbon at the offices and home of Lawagan, where we'll be focused mainly on female founders and looking for really great examples from in Portugal and from around the world that are female founders making success stories for themselves. All right, so thank you very much. Thank you again, Miguel. Really appreciate your contributions. See you later, everybody. Good night.